would like to call up Brian Gorman, Casey DeLoche from the Boy Scouts of America. Got it.
David, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. For some of you, you may remember I visited about a year ago to share about PAC and Troop 24 and a little bit about Boy Scouts of America. And what some of you may not know, who've never heard about PAC 24 or Troop 24, is we actually belong to the Rotary Club of Orlando. Literally, we belong to you. Rotary Club of Orlando is the chartering organization for PAC and Troop 24. And so the purpose of my time today with you is to give you a little bit of an update on what we've been up to and share with you some of the best practices that we have working with our chartering organizations like Rotary Club of Orlando, and candidly give you an opportunity to participate. You know, as we heard from a number of people as we're around the room, there are lots of opportunities to serve. And many of those opportunities to serve affect young people, children. And so what you're going to hear about in the next few minutes is what we think is a really important program called Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and how Boy Scouts of America is affecting young people and helping them grow into citizen leaders of tomorrow. So at the end of the next few minutes, we'll pause, let you ask some questions. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. I don't know how to advance the slides here. Maybe I just need to pop down like that. Okay. That, I don't know. I probably would break your computer if I start pressing too many buttons.
I don't want to throw this off.
Okay, that's all right. We'll be good. So as I mentioned, it's really simple. Why do we exist? Why does Boy Scouts of America exist? Why does Troop 24 exist? Why does PAC 24 exist? It's really simple. We want to build citizen leaders. Now, you take a step back as a Rotarian, you ask yourself, why does the Rotary Club exist? Because you are citizen leaders. It's a way for citizens who help lead in community service, as Dick pointed out, in generosity, and in giving back, as we heard. It's an opportunity for all of you to convene as a community and impact our neighborhoods and our city. And as Boy Scouts of America, we do the exact same thing. We focus on young people between the ages of kindergarten and 18 years of age. So really, if you think about it, it's all grade school, all the way up to their seniors in high school. And we use 4 mechanisms. And these 4 mechanisms, we believe, over the last 120 years have proven themselves out to be very powerful. It doesn't matter who is exposed to them. What they mean for them is that they can grow into being leaders. And the first one is we teach merit badges so they have life skills. So a merit badge could be something as learning how to swim. There's one that's about 16 weeks long called personal management, where they learn how to manage a bank account. They learn how to set a budget. They learn how to set a schedule for a week or 2 weeks, and then walk it through to see what their plan was versus how life actually unfolded. So we believe life skills are absolutely essential, and all of the scouts have the opportunity to achieve learning and applying life skills through these things we call merit badges. The second mechanism that we believe is really important is leadership. And the way we accomplish leadership is they start out as little folks in kindergarten, and by the time they're done, we hope that they continue to matriculate all the way up to becoming Eagle Scouts. And along the way, they learn various things that are really important in life: how to relate to others, how to lead in a way that people want to follow you, not because you're telling them to, because they want to listen. And these are skills, candidly, that are far and few between taught anywhere or any other places in our society at this point. The third thing that we realize is really important is service. So as a troop, we're going to talk about this in a second, and as a PAC, our little organization of about 70 scouts did over 20 community service projects in 2022. With many of the same organizations that you, as the Rotary Club of Orlando, feel very, very passionate about: Second Harvest Food Bank, Salvation Army. And we believe that service, candidly, is what we were called to do. You know, at the beginning of Advent, For many of you, that is a really important part of your faith journey. We know that Christians serve a Messiah, a king who did first and foremost came to serve. So we believe it's essential that children grow into adults that believe service is as high a calling as anyone can be assigned. And so we do that through service projects. And the last mechanism that we believe is really important is stewardship. And we do that through being in the outdoors, learning to camp, leaving no trace, experiencing God's creation as it was presented to us from the first time we stepped into it. And when we leave it either better or without any example of us having been there. And fundraising. All of our scouts have to fundraise. It's a requirement to be in the troop. It's a requirement to be in the pack. Because we believe that every young person needs to understand the importance of currency and what it can do when it's raised on behalf of other people. And so these are the four mechanisms that we teach every single week if you were to come to any of our pack or troop meetings. And we've been around a long time, 100 years, just like Rotary Club of Orlando. Matter of fact, Dick, with a lot of sleuth work, actually figured out that at the very beginning of Troop 24 was Rotary Club of Orlando. So what happened was there was a couple of years where Rotary Club of Orlando was actually the charting organization over 100 years ago for Troop 24. And then it was passed off to the YAL class at First Presbyterian Church of Orlando and remained chartered by that Sunday school class for almost 100 years. And then 2 years ago, transitioned back to where it all started. And so these two organizations were born almost at the exact same time, and we were formed over 100 years ago as a result of this same club. And so we feel like it's our responsibility to do exactly as you all do. Be accountable, right? So as an organization that belongs to Rotary Club of Orlando, I want to tell you, thanks be to God, we are healthy. In the pack, we have 37 scouts, 9 adults. Every adult is a volunteer. There is no paid staff. We have 26 scouts in the troop and 17 adults, so almost 100 people weekly gather for the purpose of forming young people into citizen leaders. As you can see, a lot of stats there. We gather together every week as a troop, bi-weekly as a pack. We do high adventure trips in the summer. My son and I were part of a group of 18. We went to Philmont for 10 days, backpacked for 46 miles. And I tell you what, when you can turn off that stupid device that we all carry around that we're electronically leashed to for about a week, and you start to remember that there are other things that don't exist on that, you're reminded that just like we sang at the very beginning, God bless America, God has given us a lot to be thankful for, and he's entrusted us to be a great steward of much. And sometimes we have to get outside the city and experience just his creation that way, and that's what we try to do with these scouts. And so what I want to share with you is we're also blessed to have a great host organization. First Presbyterian Church of Orlando is our host organization. They provide meeting space for us, place for us to meet in their banquet halls, to do court of honors, and candidly, we got a lot of gear. Trailers upon trailers, as Dick can tell you, and equipment upon equipment in huge closets. And they are kind enough to allow us to be hosted there. And we do 2 service projects every year for First Presbyterian Church of Orlando just to say thank you, to give back. And so this is an example. We do the mulching on all the property, on the grounds. If you like the way the mulch looks, thanks be to God for the troop and the pack. They're the ones that spread it. If you don't, talk to somebody else. Anyways, it's important, though, that they realize, hey, we've been given much, just the ability to be in this space. And so it's our responsibility to give back in whatever measure God has allowed us to. And so I want to just take a moment to explain what is a charting organization. For those of you who are not familiar, think of it as an umbrella in the sense of like a parent provides for a child. Dick and Peter Partlow were kind enough to come alongside of us 2 years ago, help us to understand the vision and mission of Rotary Club of Orlando, help us to see the overlapping and connected tissue that we had, and it has been a great relationship. And the charting organization, it's imperative that the charting organization and the PAC and the troop are lockstep in where we're trying to go. You may not have ever heard the old expression, it's impossible to caravan to two different places. Try it. You can't do it. And so when I heard from Dick what the vision and mission is of Rotary Club of Orlando, and Peter helped us unpack how both what we're doing and what you're doing is to the exact same destination. Community service as a means of leadership. It just made sense that we would be aligned back underneath Rotary Club of Orlando. And so we have a committee. Very similar to what a motion was passed, right? Directors and leadership and officer positions, we have a committee as well. We have a committee of 11 people. And they're volunteers, just like me. I'm the chair of the committee, which basically means I get to volunteer to do more. And so we would ask that any of you who feel strongly about servant leadership, citizenship, being grafted into young people, that you would consider participating in the committee. I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes what that could look like. But the Rotary Club is our charting organization. So when we turned in our charter in November, Rotary Club of Orlando was listed as, in essence, our parent. Now, you may be wondering, for those of you who've read stories about lawsuits and this and that, it implies no legal liability. There is a massive covering of an umbrella that Brian Gorman and others can speak of that covers all the activities that we do. I have to go through youth protection training every 2 years, as does every adult associated with the PAC and the troop. It's incredible, the oversight that now exists with Boy Scouts of America. Thanks be to God. But you all allow us to exist. And so I want to pause here and say thank you. I'm personally grateful because my son, who's a sophomore in high school, has been part of the PAC since he was in second grade. And this has been a very formative program in his life and all of his friends. And it wouldn't be allowed to exist if organizations like Rotary Club of Orlando didn't have the passion that you do for seeing young people turn into citizen leaders. So thank you. The second thing that you need to know is that we're accountable. Peter and Dick, as the two individuals who are part of our committee, they receive reports every single month on what we're up to. Campouts that we're planning, fundraisers that we're executing, community service projects that we're participating in, how many boys, how many girls, all of the volunteers, everything, we are accountable to you every single month. If for every reason you ever want to see any of that information, we would love to share it with you. This is as transparent a relationship as two organizations can have. That said, you're not unique. There's over 1,000 troops that are chartered by Rotary clubs around the world. So while we're thankful, you're in good company. And what we believe is alignment really matters to driving a good long-term relationship. And I believe we have the exact same destination, which means that we're aligned. And so the last couple minutes, I just want to talk about ways that we've learned our best practices for the two organizations, Rotary Club of Orlando and PAC and Troop 24, to work more closely together. And so those three ways that we can work more closely together is in participation in the committee. We have roles like treasurer, secretary, community service chair, outdoor chair, lots of different areas where people with your individual interests could participate and help govern and lead the PAC and the troop. The second way is if you are passionate about something, maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you like the outdoors, maybe you're a swimming fan like golf. There are all these merit badges that the boys and girls want to learn those life skills. We'd love for you to teach. Teaching only means is you have to come for 3 to 5 Mondays and walk them through how to do that life skill and then do a couple practical tests with them so that they know that life skill for the rest of their life. We'd love to have you. And then the last thing is, if you want to participate in any of the joint service projects, we show up to many of Rotary Club of Orlando's. We'd love for you to show up to ours. So these three opportunities exist for Rotarians to be involved in PAC and Troop 24, and Dick was very explicit when he said, Casey, make the ask. And so I'm here today to say we'd love to have you. We need your help. If you want to give back to youth organizations that are well-run, that day in and day out are building young people into citizen leaders, This is a way for you to participate. It's on Monday nights. You don't have to come every Monday night. You don't even have to commit to a long period of time. There are lots of different opportunities for you to participate, and we'd love to have you. On your table, Brian has passed out those 3 areas where we'd love for you to participate and who to contact associated with each. And with that, I'll pause for any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Hi there, thanks for the great information.
Yes.
I actually have a nephew, well, he's not really my nephew, he's my ex-husband's nephew.
We'll take him.
He's already, he became an Eagle Scout.
Awesome.
Just in time for college applications.
Praise the Lord.
In Washington, DC.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Yes, it is. So I wanted to know, is there a way that, how are you involved with recruiting any kids from the Boys and Girls Club?
So we actually, as a troop located here in downtown, we have kids from all over Central Florida, and we also have a scholarship mechanism for boys and girls from the Boys and Girls Club, along with Orlando Rescue Mission and a few other organizations. So if you are involved there and you have young people that you would like to see in the pack of the troop, you can contact me or David on that sheet.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Get back over here.
Hi, if my son is 14.
Yeah.
And he did it when he was little for a couple of years, but he had some sensory stuff to work through and
No
now he's
problem.
rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
How do I, is it possible?
Absolutely possible. Oh, watch out. You said the wrong thing. They're on you now.
And if we live in yours.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's no boundaries, set on any of our scouting units.
That was pretty funny. So I'm Matt. I'm one of the professionals who actually get to be paid to be a scout. I do this. I've been a scout since I was 8 years old, I feel like, and so that's just call Brian, call me, and we can get you squared away. It's pretty easy. Let me go back to the Boys and Girls Club question really quick. So I would love to get those kids involved in scouting. That's one of our passions, is to build the relationships that we have with those communities. We just need help. So if you're willing to connect us, I'll go make the ask. It's pretty simple. Yeah, just let us know, because we have, next week, got it. But let me say something really quick about the Boys and Girls Club. So we actually have a partnership that's called Scout Reach. It's for the underserved programs that we have in our community, and so we're working with that as well right now. But if those kids want to come to the pack in Troop 24, we will gladly make that happen. So, yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My son was in Troop 24. It was a great organization. But can you speak a little bit on the transition of letting girls in and how that's gone? It's relatively new.
Yeah, so let me explain this very easily. So about 5 years ago, the decision was to be made to allow girls into our program. The reason it was done is because when the Cub Scout program was designed, it was designed as a family-oriented program. So when you would go to a Cub Scout event, you would always have your sisters there with you when your families were out there camping. And the program said, well, why are we not letting the girls come in? Because they're doing everything with the boys already. And so about 5 years ago, we said, well, let's make the change. And I can tell you that, so me and Brian serve all of East Orlando, and we're at schools recruiting kids. Our biggest numbers right now are the girls, because they want to get out and they want to do stuff that the boys have been doing for so many years beforehand. And so the question is this: the girls are kicking the boys' butts, and we love to see it, and they're out there. And so we were saying this yesterday, our numbers this year are a little bit over 60% are girls.
So let me add one more thing. So everyone may not know this, but as of February of 2023, there'll be a Scout BSA Girl Troop 2-4. Yeah. So Casey's actually working with that currently. Yeah. There you go.
Then you just got one. Then I have the last question. I don't really have a question, I guess I have a comment. When we launched our poker program to raise money for Rotary clubs and that, actually the first charity we had was Salvation Army. We had more Boy Scouts show up than we had players. It was really wonderful. We like the attitude they're going to try to help.
I want to point out to everybody that we have in our budget this year we fund 2 Boy Scouts from Troop 24. They have to be 16 or 17-year-olds to go to Rotary Youth Leadership Awards in February. And we did 2 last year. Both of them came back saying it was one of the best leadership experiences of their life. So this year in February, we'll have 2 of our Interact students from Boone. We'll have 2 Boy Scouts who hopefully are working on their Eagle badges. And we'll have Lucas, who you just spoke to us. And those 5, our club sends to Leadership Academy. And thank you all for helping fund that.
So what you witnessed here was some real fancy dancing up here. Casey was our speaker, but he absolutely had to leave by 1 o'clock to catch a very important call. And one of the mottos of the Boy Scouts is to be prepared. And he was prepared. He brought in a couple of substitutes for him. They did a great job of answering the questions for him. So one more time, let's give a hand for Matt Hannigan and Brian Gorman. Thank you very much. Okay, now, Jenny.